Good evening everyone. So I haven't made one of these videos in a while, and I've been contemplating and actually been recording a lot of videos to share with you guys, because since I came back from the fast, my journey's been quite profound, to say the least. And it's not mine, it's your journey, it's my journey. They're all intertwined in some way. But a particular energy moment that has really helped me in physiological, psychological, energetic, spiritual, obviously, and in that way, very, very powerfully. And therefore I wanted to share that experience on video, just to see what other people have, if anyone else has had any similar experience with the sun. So I was told by a friend who's a yogi a couple of months ago now that an older gentleman had taught him to sungaze, and that he needed to be very careful. And I took this as a curious moment for me, and it aroused my curiosity, obviously. And need I say more? There are certain elements. Well, I guess with all elements, there's a deep relationship and a bond, and that one just sparked that interest there and then. And I started to sungaze, not with my eyes open initially, but I would look towards the sun, or slightly towards the sun, or use the branches on the trees to have this, my vision slightly blocked by the sun, so I am looking partially at the sun. And days and weeks of doing that daily, whether it's raining, it was during September, August period, so we still had, the weather was nice and we had more clear skies at that time, so there was more chance to do that, especially early in the morning, around 7. And something very familiar about doing this. I noticed the first thing I noticed was the same as going into ice cold water. If there are thoughts of the cold, it's usually not just of the cold, it's an emotion behind pain, behind not wanting to deal or face or confront that difficult moment you have with such a powerful element, the cold. The sun is also the same. So the cold would hurt more the more you held on to. The sun would burn more the more you held on to. The more I let go, the more I was able to become one with the sun. I won't get into my psychedelic experiences, but there was quite these psychedelic experiences just looking at the sun itself, or just feeling the sun, or doing breathing exercises in front of the sun. Interesting things, movements, and not just fractal patterns and geometric patterns, but almost just divinely melodics, music and dancing, almost with that divine celestial energy. And I intuitively started to do something that I would like to call my spine pump. I like to limber up in the mornings. I used to take a lot of time stretching. Now that it's very just basic, and there's a few jumps and there's just a few movements I do, and one of them is to pump my spine, which I do. And I decided to do that in front of the sun. This will involve some, this will also involve some breathing exercises as well. And so with the breathing and the spine pump together, I noticed some profound effects. And then I started to add another something that I discovered during my Wim Hof, where my diaphragm would be full of oxygen, and I would stretch my spine and squeeze my glutes, things that I gathered from different places, and I would feel this light shooting out from my spine up and pulling it forward, and it would be profound, to say the least. So about 3 weeks ago, I was doing these movements, and it's a lot colder. It's in the minuses, low ones and twos, and as I'm doing this move, I release my oxygen, the plasma, the energy, and my body melts, and I have what's probably, well, without a doubt, which was the most ecstatic feeling ever, where it felt like my whole nervous system was having an orgasm. I don't know how long I was there, standing looking at the sun. My house is right by the entrance of a subway station, so there's hundreds of people walking past me, and I have people knocking on my door and taking pictures with me all the time, but I don't know where I was. I just know that even now when I think about it, I get some goosebumpy feeling of love that I can't compare to anything, basically. I was there for a while. But it's interesting because a few weeks prior to that, actually about a month prior to that, a lot of people around me were ill, falling sick and having the flu, and I'm someone that used to catch the flu regularly. I would be sick at least minimum 3 times a year, and this year's been very different. You know, it's come, it's so relating it to the sun. It came, and I felt I had fever. I went out to the sun, just do my routine, because even whether I'm sick or not, I still continue, you know, my rituals, my routine. And if I don't do it, it's never because I'm sick, it's because I feel like I don't need to, or I'm in a hurry, or I go with the flow, you know. There's these intuitive feelings as to why and what not, and I never question them too deep. I'm like, well, if it's not meant to be, and the timing's not right, and the feeling's not right, then I won't. So it felt right. I had a fever the night before and the morning, and I'm out in the sun, and I'm doing just very gentle breathing, and I didn't even do the full set of my spine pump, and I felt I was the sun, and it was me, and it burned everything that was in me out of me. I felt and saw what was where, the virus or the bacteria, and it burnt away, and I saw whatever it was leave me. So that was my first experience. I'm making this video today because it's fresh, and today's experience was pretty much a more serious or more on the same lines, but just I felt horrible today. Like my throat was sore. I woke up with, I had it in the evening, towards the early evening yesterday. I work outside and I spend a lot of time in the cold. I allow my body to acclimate to the cold, and as I'm feeling this thing get worse and worse, and I have all this mucus coming out of me, infection. It's interesting to feel somewhat hopeless, but I did my cold shower. It was shorter, of course. I felt somewhat, and I was quite uncertain as to if I'm already sick. Should I continue? There's this doubt. But I didn't allow it to come inside, and I went out as the sun came out. Actually, during my cold shower, I went outside and spent time doing my stretch and my vagus pump, pulling that energy. And as I pulled that energy and allowed it to release, something profound happened again. I felt it with my vision, an internal vision, and it released again, and I felt a lot better, almost to the point where my throat wasn't feeling anything, and I got better along the day doing that. And I believe that there is a correlation between that energy, us sinking into the sun, and I believe we're all capable of that. And if anyone has any similar experiences, I would love for them to share, and I would love to speak to people about this. And of course, either way, I will continue on this journey and continue feeling this love, and just setting myself into notion with greater feelings than my mind could conceive. So I allow it to be. Beautiful evening to all.